It's time to get nerdy, y'all.
A little bit of gaming history for you.
Something relevant in gaming and discuss our opinions on it.
Should we kick it out of here, or should we kick-start it?
This is the part where you, the listeners, try to stump the hosts.
I'm not a lawyer, I just play one on a podcast. Hello, fellow nerds, and a special update from a special episode. As you probably know, we were fortunate enough to have the Ross Scott, best known for Freeman's Mind, Ross's Game Dungeon, and most importantly, his efforts via StopKillingGames.com to try and get video game publishers to stop killing games.com. If you haven't listened yet, the interview is well worth listening to, but the main goal there is that when a game company decides to stop supporting its game, they have to leave it in a functional state that can be maintained by others if the game publisher doesn't want to anymore. Because video game publishers regularly require most current video games to maintain online connections in order to function, even for single-player stuff. And that means that all it takes is the publisher to stop maintaining a simple online server, and bam, your game goes poof. Even for those of us who keep a physical disc with the game data on it, it still won't work because there's no server for it to connect to and make that check. The game disc just becomes a coaster. And while for many games that is going to be years away, for some, it happens 3 months after launch. Say if Sony decides they want you to have a PlayStation Network account and will lock you out of a game you just barely purchased. Decisions like this and the whole always online approach to video games are universally disliked, and the best that we can hope for is review bombing a game and hoping against hope that the suits will backpedal. And now while that has worked for Helldivers 2, mostly it just works because everyone was paying very close attention. We are still barreling toward the end of the tracks for the earlier franchises that have been built with always online requirements, and are starting to see the first waves of video games going down, games like The Crew. Ross Scott started StopKillingGames.com to compile the best options for video gamers worldwide to do something about the industry's current practice of killing games. If you go to that site, select your country, it will outline what you can do to stop the practice, giving you a step-by-step, even suggesting some words, and showing you the buttons to click. It will show you how to do this so that we can hopefully require game companies to legally leave a video game functional after they no longer want to support it. One of those methods is direct government petitions, and when we did our interview with Ross, the petitions were not live yet, but since then, the UK petition, and now the Australian and Canadian petitions are also live. Unlike a petition you might see in the United States, these petitions have thresholds for signatures that, if met, the government agency is required to make a statement on it. The UK petition is open until mid-October, the Canadian open until early September, and the Australian petition closes May 20th. So crazy fast. So time is short, my international friends. Get on those petitions, because frankly, we only have one method of trying to stop this practice, and it just hasn't worked except in the most super short term. What we really need is governments to say to game companies, hey, stealing something that these guys paid for is against the law, and there will be more than just online reviews coming at you if you do that. And so, a special entreaty to my Aussie friends. I have Steam refunds only because of the work that you all did in mandating that change. Please, help us in the United States and everywhere by securing just one more scrap of consumer rights for us, the right to keep our games. And just to be clear, to sign on to these petitions, you don't have to have already had a video game that got shut down. You just need to have a passion for video games and a desire to hang on to that video game after the company decides they no longer want to support it. And if you're not in the UK, in Canada, or in Australia, you can still help. Go to StopKillingGames.com, and that will show you the best ways that you can get the word out there and help make this change happen. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on Tuesday for our regularly scheduled recording.